Welcome everyone to the next presentation, and with us today we have the pleasure of welcoming 24SevenOffice and its CEO Ståle Risa. And some of you might already know me and see me moderating other presentations, but nonetheless I am Simon Granat, working as an analyst at ABG covering IT stocks. And without further ado, I'll let you present the company, Ståle.
Thank you very much. Ståle Risa, I'm the CEO in 24SevenOffice. 24SevenOffice is a cloud-based ERP system. So you have everything you need to run a business, everything from accounting, invoicing, warehouse management, time tracking, project management, and integrations. We have 45,000 businesses using our system today, and we've been in the cloud business since the beginning. So we're born in the cloud. So we started developing cloud-based ERP systems in the late 1990s. So we've been around for a long time in the tech, that kind of tech industry. One of the things that separates us from others is that we are targeting larger organizations. So we're not focusing on the small and micro space. Of course, we have customers in that space through our accounting partners, but we are targeting larger companies. We're listed on the Spotlight stock market, and most of our revenues are subscription-based. I have a video. It's in Swedish, so we'll skip that here since it's a more international audit here. So, but it's the system. It's built for automation, speed, and scalability. So we have developed it to use for small businesses, large businesses in all industries. One of the things that we focus on is high transaction volumes. So it's as an accountant or a professional user, it's easy to, or you can be very fast and efficient using the software. As well as we have mobile apps for more easy data integration and data input. So you have for kind of non-professional system users in a company, they can easily take their expenses, their hours, track time, do their order and invoicing through an app, which is like a simple interface. And then you have the advanced users using a more advanced interface. The focus is a lot around the financial financial management and accounting. And around that core of accounting and finance, we have the hours, we have project management, CRM, and collaboration. And that's also standalone modules in our portfolio of a suite of modules. We also have integrations in the same space. So a customer, 24SevenOffice customer, can either use our own CRM system or can integrate with any other CRM systems out in on the market. And the focus on APIs and integrations is something that we do a lot, and it's an important part of what we do. So not forcing our customers to use all our modules, but since we built them as modules, it's also integrated, and integrated with our own modules also allows us to integrate with other systems. So the API first and integration building ecosystem around 24SevenOffice, the financial management part of it, is one of our strong parts. The other one is that our vision is to automate everything around a business. Whether it's the revenue side, how to automate the revenues, how to automate the cost side, the purchase invoices, how that process can be automated, automating the reporting. And if you think some years ahead, maybe the reporting is more, you get a suggestion on how you could change how you can change something within your company, and you can just let the system know that yes, it's at a thumbs up, and everything is happening. So in that vision, the long vision of automating revenue side, cost side, reporting, and also integration and data input and output between systems is something that we believe in. And the integration allows customers to integrate like their own systems, having their own IT department or IT consulting doing integrations tailored for their own business. In addition to that, we have some plug-and-play integrations where you can just add from an app store ecosystem, adding on and building on, so like the modules we have. So the mix of standard integrations and tailor-made integrations and the possibility for others to build on top of 24SevenOffice is also something we believe in. The positioning, we are targeting larger companies as we said. So we have divided small and micro, mid-sized, and small businesses, and medium-sized. And what we come from, so like small businesses. That's where we started. That's the easiest thing to develop. And when we move on, we've always had ambition to be a system for larger companies. And building functionality for a larger company means that you need more functionality and a broader functionality within the software. For instance, if you look at internal control in a company, it's very different from a company with 1 employee, 10 employees, and 200 employees. When you have 200 employees, you have to make sure that you have internal processes that allows you so that not the same person that have ordered something also approves the invoice and then approve the payment. If you're 1 man or 2, basically you're just switching hats, whether you're the CFO or the purchaser or the CEO. But in a large organization, you need more functionality in the platform to be able to serve the needs in that space. And that's where we, in the software side, where we separate from small and micro business systems. And the other one is transaction volume. If you're a small company in a small and micro business space, you have less invoices per month. But if you're a large organization and you're a group of companies, you're doing like 500 million revenues, then the number of invoices, both sending invoices and also receiving purchase invoices, is a lot higher volume. And the people working within accounting in these companies are also trained professional users. So they have different feature sets and they need in terms of that. And that's like where we've been focusing. But at the same time as we focus on them, we have the full internal control system. And as a small company, you can choose not to use all that. So you can skip all those processes and use it as a small one. So it's more having like advanced and simple mode in the software. And with that, so like growing, working with the product over time, we have a very scalable system with a variety of industries and customer sizes using it. One of the segments we're really strong in and focusing on is accounting firms. So we have a focus on that, which I'll come back to later. In Norway, we have a high market share amongst the accounting firms, And that's also what we are doing here in Sweden, attacking and working on accounting firm market. And a fun fact is that we looked at the accounting firms using 24SevenOffice, and they are growing twice the pace as the industry average in Norway. So working in 24SevenOffice and in the cloud, it's good business for the accounting firms. And at the same time as they're growing at a faster pace, they're also more they have higher margins than the industry average. One of the focus in so like the ERP space is automation and AI, and that's also something we are working on. And one of the things with AI is that it's definitely the technology is here, but the mindset of the people are going to use it are still so like lagging a bit behind. So it's a job to do there, and that's why why I have this slide telling that how much are happening on the internet every minute. So for instance, there are 3.8 million searches on Google, which means it's 5.5 billion a day. And in the year 2000, they had 18 million searches in Google. So the amount of the pace of how fast things are moving. And another story to see that AI is something that you need to start working on. Is that when we started in '97 in Norway, there was this article in the financial press saying that the internet will never be something, it will be a flop. And there's three main reasons for that. One is that it will be so much information that it's impossible to find anything. The private use will be limited, and no one will make any money of putting their products and services online. And 20 years later, the solution for those three problems is the three biggest companies in the world. So being in the innovation space and looking so like the next 5 years and 10 years and keeping a pace of business is important for us as in the R&D part of this. But the technology is here. And it's important to get started because the use today is limited, but the topic of AI is high on the agenda in the management teams and in the boards of European companies. One of the reasons for us to be actually being able to deliver the technology today is that we have 20 years of history of data that we can train the AI models on. We have professional users that have used the software, so it's trained accountants, and a lot of the companies are bigger, so they also have auditors. So we know that what's in the accounting system is correct, and we can train that correct data with the scanned invoices because the long history we have. So with more than 200 million financial documents going into that training, it's definitely one of the unfair advantages we have doing working with AI. So the system is actually working for you and it's learning from you. It's something that you evolve with, and that's also one of the reasons why companies should start using AI today and not wait, because it's a learning process in a way, because it needs to learn from the data you have entered into it, and the sooner you get into it, the faster you'll see the results. So basically what happens is that we automate the process. You get an invoice into the system. The AI engine is going through it. It's looking at the invoice and also bookkeeping each line item as a separate data entry into the system, which means you have a lot of data and correct data into it. And you get two sorted into lists, one OK and one review. In the OK list, you basically just you can look at it and select all and bookkeep. And the reason why we do that is that we want the users to get familiar with the technology, because even I wouldn't sit back in the back seat of a self-driving car watching Netflix the first time. So it's important to get familiar with the technology, and that's why we allow them to do that. And there's a lot of different parts of the accounting process which can be automated with AI. We're starting with accounts payable and purchase invoices. That's where the highest volume is. And also within the accounting industry, also where they spend a lot of their time. And the other thing is that you need to have the correct data and detailed data to be able to do all the other reporting and year-end procedures and accruals and all the other services. You need like correct and detailed data. So that's the reason why we're starting there. But it's a lot of functions underneath a controller or a CFO that can be automated as the next steps. And with this technology and with the involvement of cloud and more efficient systems, is also gives us as a supplier of this software new business opportunities and to monetize on the technology. But also it gives our customers new opportunities within their industry. So, for instance, the accounting firms, which is one of the target, our biggest targets, is that they are focusing on they're charging, their revenue model is per hour, and more efficient systems will reduce their hours. So they need to use technology to be able to make new revenue streams, both on more consulting, but also reselling software, getting their customers to use software, do self-service and pay for that, and have fixed prices on their service, which means they can automate as much as they can, and the more they automate, the better margin. So it's a win-win situation between a supplier and our customers, and that's sort of like our business model in that industry. Some update on the latest figures. We have good growth both on revenues and customers. We have improved the profitability the last quarters. We are in an investment phase in Sweden, which of course is hitting our P&L. But the last quarters we have better profitability. The customer growth, we are approaching 45,000 businesses. It's a growth of 34%. Revenues are growing 33%, and we are one of the few SaaS companies out there which are also reporting on SaaS metrics, which is, in my opinion, also where the biggest focus should be on acquisition costs, how many months of subscription you need to recover the acquisition cost of acquiring a new customer, and also the lifetime value of a customer. And that's two figures we have in our quarterly reports. Yeah. It's for those of you in the room that not know the difference between the traditional software model and SaaS model, is that in the traditional software space, you basically you get most of the revenue immediately, and then you have sort of like a yearly subscription with sort of like a small amount. And that means you cover most of your, or you get payback on your cost immediately. Whereas the subscription model, you have all the costs when you're selling, but you get a small amount every month. And that's like a big difference between the traditional model and the SaaS subscription model. And we've been in subscription since the beginning. And that also gives them or open up for new ways of actually looking at the business. And that's why I skip like the detailed numbers and go into what really matters. And it's the acquisition cost, lifetime value, and growth. If you hit these three metrics as a SaaS company, you're on a good, and of course, enough cash. You need that to be able to do that. But it's that's sort of like the three things that should be have high attention. With the growth we've had, we've increased number of employees a lot over the years, the last couple of years. So now we're 144, I think, so almost 150 people. When we started 2018, we were 67. So it's been a high growth of people the last couple of years. So now we're have enough people to fill a sailboat when we have a summer party. And to finish up, just our focus. This is the same slide I used the first presentation we had as a listed company. And it's exactly the same, and we kept that 2-year process. Before the summer, we closed the biggest deal in Sweden, HSB, 4,000 housing cooperatives automating their accounting with our AI, and we're on a good we're keeping that pace and that plan. So, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think we by then have some time for a couple of questions on my behalf. So initially, given that you're operating in the SaaS space, of course, you have a very scalable business model.
Yep.
But even so, in the latter period, you have increased operating costs quite substantially, which you also touched upon just recently.
Yep.
Do you feel like you have the cost costume to capture further growth ahead, or do you feel like you need to employ more people, or what's your thinking around that?
Yes, basically what we've done the last couple of years is that we took a giant leap and invested a lot. And going forward, given that we continue in Norway and Sweden, we will grow faster than the cost side. But we will continue on investing in growth, but not so like the giant leap as we've done so like the last couple of years. Okay.
Perfect. And just to clarify, how is your revenue model? How does it actually look like? Is the majority coming from fixed payment in terms of SaaS, or do you also have a variable component that could increase or so?
Today, most of it is fixed monthly. So it's the main model is per user per month per module, and then with so like introducing AI and other automation tools, that's more based on usage, because so going forward, growth will be both from licenses, monthly licenses, in combination with more usage based, and that's all automation and AI, and also we know that especially within the accounting industry, they can do more with less people. But they get more value out of the software, which also is something that they need to pay for.
Perfect. And also, given that you're targeting these larger businesses, I presume that your operating business model is quite more complex than compared to your smaller competitors, for instance. How long are the lead times as you obtain a new customer?
It varies a lot. HSB is half a year, 6 month process. So it all depends on where in where in the process you are. So, but basically between 3 to 9 months is so like the majority of the lead time.
And does this mean that it's required to have a lot of consulting revenues, etc., on your behalf, or who does the implementation at these larger corporations?
Yeah, we have some consultants internally, but basically what we want is that our partners are doing that part. So that's one of the new revenue streams for the accounting industry also, is to get more into how to utilize software in an efficient way to make to help their clients be a better, more efficient in how they operate their business.
Okay. And I guess as a final question, I was wondering around the current market environment. One are usually referring to SaaS penetration in terms of software accounting around smaller SMEs or the larger corporations, etc. How is the penetration degree in both Sweden and in Norway amongst these larger companies?
Well, in terms of the mid-size and larger companies, the cloud penetration is it's not very high. So the majority of those businesses, when we win a deal, they come from on-premise solutions. So the first kind of industry or segment that moved to the cloud was the small and micro businesses. So if you start a business today, no way you go to Elgiganten buying a CD and install that on your laptop. You go online. Most of larger companies, they've been around and they took their system investment like 5-7 years ago. And with AI automation, when they are replacing it, they see that there's only one way to do, and that's to the cloud. So we have the market with us in terms of transition from on-premise to SaaS in that segment.
That's crystal clear. Thank you very much for attending today. And
thank you very much.
Thank you to the audience as well.
Thank you very much.